morning, my dear students. So in the previous class we started with the third chapter, the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate, and we are going to continue with this chapter. So I'll just brief you on what we did in the last class. So in the foundation of the Delhi Sultanate, in the previous class we did about the two Turkish slaves who came to India and they invaded India. And their motive was not to, they did not want it to set up an empire in India. Okay? They just wanted to invade and raid India and loot India. So the first invader, or let's say the first Turkish ruler who invaded India was Muhammad of Ghazni. Okay, so Muhammad of Ghazni, he invaded India and he looted India. Let's say he invaded India 17 times. Okay, in 25 years, he invaded India 17 times. And there were two causes for his invasion. One, he saw that India was very, very wealthy, and especially his target was temples and the kingdoms. And second reason why he invaded India was he saw that there was no unity among the Rajput rulers, and taking this advantage, he wanted to come and invade India and loot the wealth of India. Then Muhammad, he fought against Jaipal. Jaipal, he was the ruler of Punjab. So the first battle was against Jaipal and Muhammad of Ghazni. So again here Jaipal was defeated by Muhammad of Ghazni, and Jaipal, he was forced, he was imprisoned, and later he was released. But in return he had to pay a tribute. Tribute, I gave you the meaning of tribute in the last class, which means he had to pay some amount of money as a compensation to Muhammad of Ghazni. So he was so much insulted that what did he do? He gave his kingdom, he gave it to his son, and he committed suicide. Then again the next battle was fought between the son of Jaipal, Anandapal, and again Muhammad of Ghazni. In this battle also, the son of Jaipal, Anandapal, was defeated, and again Muhammad of Ghazni, he became victorious. Okay? Then another attack which Muhammad of Ghazni made was on the Somnath temple. So he plundered, he looted the Somnath temple in 1026 AD, and it is believed that this was the most ruthless and the cruel activity of Muhammad of Ghazni. And it is said that he carried lots of wealth from this temple. Almost 6.5 tons of gold was carried from the Somnath temple. Okay? So this is what we did, and we also did this decline of the Ghaznavid Empire. So the empire of Muhammad Ghazni. If you have your textbook in front of you, you can see page number 25. Right on top, you see this pinkish color, this map, this pinkish color area. This is, you can see where is Gaur, you can see Ghazni, it's there. So this was the Ghaznavid Empire, and this Ghaznavid Empire, he was the ruler of this Ghaznavid Empire. But later there was a decline in this Ghaznavid Empire when again the two Turkish rulers, the Seljuk Turkish rulers and the Ghurids, they invaded and they captured this Ghaznavid Empire. And the last kingdom, or let's say the last territory which was left behind in this Ghaznavid area was Lahore, and this was also occupied, or it was also annexed or taken away by the Ghurids. Okay, so with this there was a decline of the Ghaznavid Empire. Now we move on. Today I'll be starting with Muhammad Ghori. So there were two Turkish invaders. One we already finished with Muhammad of Ghazni, and next, but he did not establish any kingdom in India. And second is Muhammad of Ghori. So Muhammad of Ghor, he belonged to Ghor. Yeah, right on top. So this is Ghor. So he belonged to the kingdom of Ghor. So Muhammad of Ghor, or Muhammad Ghori, is credited with actually laying the foundation of the Muslim empire in India at the end of the 12th century. So again, it was Muhammad of Ghori who established the Muslim empire in India. So it was the first invader was Muhammad of Ghazni, but he did not he did not set up an empire in India. He just looted and he just plundered India. But Muhammad of Ghori, he was the first Muslim ruler to establish the Muslim empire in India. The Ghuric dynasty of Muhammad Ghori rose to power at Ghor, a kingdom that bordered the Ghaznavid Empire on its west. So you can see the dynasty here. So this again, next page, page number 25, right on top you see this map. So you can see where is Ghor. Okay, so he belonged to this Ghuric dynasty. Taking advantage of the weak successors of Muhammad of Ghazni, the Ghurids started capturing the Ghaznavid territory. So Muhammad Ghori, here he saw that after the death of Muhammad of Ghazni, the territory, the Ghaznavid empire had become very, very weak. And taking this advantage, Muhammad Ghori, he invaded this Ghaznavid empire. Then in 1186, Muhammad Ghori conquered Lahore, because that was the last territory which was there in the Ghaznavid Empire, and this territory was also invaded by Muhammad Ghori. And thus the Ghaznavid dynasty came to an end. So this Ghaznavid dynasty also, now it was under Muhammad Ghori. Then Ghori's march in India. So Ghori now, after occupying this Ghaznavid Empire, now he moved towards India. There were two battles which were fought by Muhammad Ghori. So Muhammad Ghori, he fought two battles, and these battles are known as the Battle of Tarim. Okay, so Battle of Tarim. So the first Battle of Tarim and the second Battle of Tarim. So there were two battles of Tarim which was fought by Muhammad Ghori in India. So after capturing the areas Punjab, Multan, Sindh and so many other territories were captured by Muhammad Ghori, then he came towards India, that is he came towards Delhi, and at that time Delhi was the part of the kingdom of the Rajput ruler. So that time Delhi was ruled by the Rajput ruler, Prithviraj Chauhan. Okay, so are you clear? So Muhammad Ghori, now he was heading towards India. So he was heading towards Delhi, and Delhi at that time, part of Delhi was under the Rajput ruler, Prithviraj Chauhan. So the Rajput army met Ghori's forces in the first battle of Tarim in 1191 AD. So this battle of Tarim, the first battle of Tarim, it was fought in 1191 AD, and this was fought between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Okay, again I'll repeat. There were two battles of Tarim which were fought between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad of Ghori. First and the second battle of Tarim. So first battle of Tarim, it was fought in 1191 AD. Okay, 1191 AD. First battle of Tarim between Muhammad Ghori and Prithviraj Chauhan. Ghori suffered a crushing defeat in this battle, but he was lucky to escape from the battlefield. So Muhammad of Ghori, he was lucky enough to, this battle, in this battle, who was defeated? It was Muhammad Ghori was defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan, and he escaped from this battlefield alive. Again, the next battle, it was fought, again second battle was fought between in 1192 AD. The second battle of Tarim, it was fought between again Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad of Ghori, and here also again what happened? But in this battle, again second time, Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. So Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated by Muhammad of Ghori. Are you clear with this? Then this is what happened in the second battle of Tarim. Then Prithviraj Chauhan, he was killed, and Ghori's victory in the second battle of Tarim marked the end of the Rajput rule in North India and the beginning of the Turkish rule in India. So after the defeat of the Rajput ruler Prithviraj Chauhan, then began the rule of the Muslims, the Turkish slaves. They started ruling India. Okay, clear? So you need to remember this first and the second battle of Tarim. So first battle of Tarim, it was fought between Muhammad Ghori and it was fought between Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan and Ghori. In the first battle of Tarim, 1191 AD, first battle of Tarim fought between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Muhammad Ghori was defeated, but somehow he was able to escape. But he did not lose hope. Again next year, 1192 AD, in the second battle of Tarim, again fought between same Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghori. Here, Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan was killed, and this is how the Muslim rule started in India. Now we move on to the next topic, expansion by Ghori's officers. Ghori made the captured Indian territories part of the Ghorid Empire. So all the Indian territories which were captured by Muhammad Ghori became the part of the Ghorid Empire. To look after these territories, he appointed, if you have a book, please underline this, he appointed Qutbuddin Aibak as governor. So who became the governor of Muhammad Ghori? It was Qutbuddin Aibak. He became the governor of Muhammad Ghori to look after the empire. Okay? So there were so many governors which were appointed by Muhammad Ghori, because Muhammad Ghori had captured so many kingdoms in India, and in each kingdom he had governors. So one of his governor was Qutbuddin Aibak. So Qutbuddin Aibak, he became one of the governor. Qutbuddin, Qutbuddin Aibak. He was one of the governor of Muhammad Ghori, and he was to look after the kingdom. After the return of Ghori to Ghor, Aibak captured Mathura, Gwalior, Malwa and other territories. So now Muhammad Ghori, he went back to Ghor. He went back to his kingdom, Ghor. And in India, it was Qutbuddin Aibak who were to look after the administration in India. And not only that, he also captured Mathura, Gwalior, Malwa and many other territories. Ghori became Sultan after the death of his brother in 1202 AD. So in Ghor, he had gone to his own empire in Ghor, and there, after his brother died, he became the Sultan there. He returned to India. So again, in 1206 AD, he came back to India to crush a rebellion in Punjab. So there was a revolt in Punjab. So he came back from Ghor to India to crush this revolt. But however, while he was returning to Ghazni, after crushing the rebellion, Ghori was assassinated. Okay, so it is said that while he was returning to Ghazni, then what happened? He was murdered, or he was killed, he was assassinated. So this is how he died. Okay, clear with this? So you need to know who was Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutbuddin Aibak, he was one of the governors of Muhammad of Ghori. So Muhammad of Ghori, he had appointed a governor to look after his administration, and when Muhammad Ghori was not in India, when he had gone to Ghor, it was Qutbuddin Aibak who looked after the administration, and he also captured Mathura, Gwalior, Malwa and many other territories. And in Ghor, when he had gone to Ghor, his kingdom, after his brother died, he became the next Sultan. And he came to India to crush the revolt in Punjab. There was a revolt which was going on in Punjab, so he had come to crush the revolt. But while returning to Ghazni, he was murdered, he was killed, he was assassinated. So this is how he died. Again, I want you to underline. If you have a book, please underline. Otherwise, you listen carefully. I'll be giving you notes on this. So the Delhi Sultanate, founded by Qutbuddin Aibak, it existed for over 300 years. So Delhi Sultanate. So who was Qutbuddin? He was also the founder. Qutbuddin Aibak was also the founder of Delhi Sultanate. Okay, Qutbuddin Aibak was also the founder of the Delhi Sultanate. And this Delhi Sultanate lasted for how many years? 300 years. So in these 300 years, so Delhi Sultanate was founded by Qutbuddin Aibak, and this Delhi Sultanate, which lasted for 300 years, it was ruled by 5 dynasties. So here, Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate, it lasted for 300 years. And in this 300 years, there were 5 dynasties. Okay, so it was ruled by this Delhi Sultanate for 300 years. It was there, and by 5, it was ruled by 5 dynasties. Then its rulers were known as sultans. So who were the rulers? So the rulers who ruled Delhi Sultanate, they were known as sultans. And the main Turkish or Afghan dynasties that ruled in India during the Sultanate period, they are here. So first, so which dynasty ruled? The first dynasty which ruled Delhi Sultanate was Slave dynasty, or it was also known as the Mamluk dynasty. Okay, slave, those who serve like servants, slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty. The second dynasty was Khalji or Khilji dynasty. Third, Tughlaq dynasty. Okay, the fourth, Sayyid dynasty, and the last one, I write it here on top, Lodi. This is the fifth one, Lodi dynasty. Okay, so these were the 5 dynasties which ruled the Delhi Sultanate for 300 years. So one by one we will be doing with all these dynasties. So first we'll start with the Mamluk dynasty or the slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the founder of this slave dynasty, and he ruled from 1206 to 1210. That is, he ruled for 4 years. Following Gauri's death, his governor declared themselves independent. One such governor was Qutbuddin Aibak, who took control of Gauri's possession in India. Now, after the death of Muhammad Gauri, all these governors, they wanted to become independent. They wanted to have their own, because before they were under Muhammad Gauri, everyone was working under Muhammad Gauri. But after the death of Muhammad Gauri, they wanted to be free and independent and start having their own kingdoms. And one of the governor was Qutbuddin Aibak, and he controlled India. Qutbuddin Aibak is considered the founder, you can underline this. Qutbuddin Aibak is considered the founder of both the Delhi Sultanate and the slave dynasty or Mamluk dynasty, and most of the rulers of this dynasty, Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Balban, started their career as slaves. So, the founder of the slave dynasty was Qutbuddin Aibak. It is also known as the Mamluk dynasty, and they were rulers like Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, Balban. They were all slaves. Slave means they used to serve. Okay, they used to serve their master like servants serve. And that's the reason why it is known as the slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the first ruler of the Mamluk or the slave dynasty. Underline this also. Initially he moved from Lahore and later on he moved his capital to Delhi, and Aibak ruled only for 4 years. Okay, so first the capital was in Lahore and later it was shifted to Delhi, and he ruled for 4 years. Aibak is portrayed as the ruler who took care of his subjects. So Qutb Aibak, he took care of his subjects, means his people. He was very kind and generous, and he also got the title of Lakh Baksh. Lakh Baksh means giver of lakhs. So he was so kind-hearted and so generous. He used to look after and take care of the people in his kingdom. He is also remembered for starting the construction of Qutb Minar in the honor of the Sufi saint Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Okay, so he had also built Qutb Minar, but Qutb Minar he could not complete. Later it was completed by Iltutmish. So Qutbuddin Aibak, he started the construction of Qutb Minar in the name of the Sufi saint Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. The construction of Qutb Minar was completed by his son Iltutmish. And Aibak he also built, Qutbuddin Aibak, he also built the first mosque in India, which was known as Quwwatul Islam, which means might of Islam. Then Aibak died while he was playing polo in 1210 AD, and he was buried in Lahore. Okay, and later he was succeeded by his son Iltutmish. Okay, clear everyone with this? And I'll stop here. Tomorrow I'll start with, no, not tomorrow, whenever I have my class, I think I'll have it next week. So I'll start with Iltutmish, and I'll just recap on what we did today. We did about Muhammad Ghori. Okay, Muhammad Ghori, he was the second Turkish slave who came to India, and he started the Muslim Empire in India. He fought 2 battles, the first and the second battle of Tarin with Prithviraj Chauhan. In the first battle he was defeated, and in the second battle he did not lose hope. Again in the second battle he won this battle by defeating Prithviraj Chauhan, and this is how he established the Muslim Empire in India. So he had also appointed governor like Qutbuddin Aibak to look after his kingdom, and after Muhammad Ghori died, it was Qutbuddin Aibak who looked after and took control of the Indian territories in India, and he established the Delhi. He was the founder of the Delhi Sultanate, and Delhi Sultanate it was there for 300 years, ruled by 5 dynasties. So the first dynasty was Mamluk dynasty, or the slave dynasty, which was ruled by the first ruler of the slave dynasty was Qutbuddin Aibak. Okay, and he was very generous. He was very kind-hearted, generous ruler, and took care of the subjects of his people. He also built Qutb Minar, and it was later, he could not complete it, and it was completed by his son Iltutmish. And the first mosque which was built in India was Quwwatul Islam, and this mosque, again this was the first mosque which was built in India by Qutbuddin Aibak. So how he died? He died while playing polo in 1210 AD, and he was buried in Lahore. And who succeeded him? His son Iltutmish. Okay, so in the next class I'll do Iltutmish. Till then I want you all to study and go through whatever we did today. So whatever I have done today, I'll be sending you notes, okay, in your WhatsApp. If you have any problem, any question, please you ask me, or you can message me in my personal number in WhatsApp.